Okay, so let us start today's lecture. So today what we shall do is we shall derive the Laura series expansion. In the previous lecture, we have derived the Taylor series expansion for an analytic function around some analytic function. It is analytic in some region around some point z naught. Here we shall do derive the Laura series expansion, and you know that if the function fz, can you see this part of the board? Are you here?
No, sir, it's not visible.
It's not visible, no? Okay. So I don't know why. So let me do one thing. Is this okay? Can you see this line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now can you see this f of z?
It's little blurred.
Yeah, I think there is some problem today, but we have to manage with it. Anyway, so I'm writing it. I can see it clearly, but I don't know whether you are able to see it. Anyway, so what I'm saying is the following: that if fz is some function of a complex variable and it has an isolated singularity at z naught, then we know that fz can be expanded in a Laura series expansion of this form around the isolated singular point. Now, can you see this? Oh my God! I don't know what done. Is it okay? Now, is it visible now?
It's very blurred.
Just a minute. Let me call the system administrator. পাপি চট করে এসো একবার, চট করে। Just a minute. So this is the Laura series expansion of the function f of z around the singular point z naught, and today we want to derive this in a rigorous way. So what we shall do is let z naught be the singular point. আজকে আমি প্রথমত দেখো বোর্ডটা এখানে এলে তুমি একবার এসো, বোর্ডটা ঠিকঠাক করে ওরা দেখতে পাচ্ছে বলে মনে হয় না, একটু হালকা হালকা হয়ে আছে। আর তার থেকেও বড় কথা, আমি ভাগ্যিস লক্ষ্য করলাম ক্যামেরাটা ওইদিকে মুখ করা ছিল। কি বলবো বলো তো?
না না, এর ক্যামেরাটা ঠিক ছিল, ক্যামেরা সোর্সটা আলাদা আছে।
না না, এর মুখটা ওইদিকে ছিল, এটা এখানে রাখা, আর এর মুখটা এদিকে ঘোরানো ছিল।
এটা স্যার এই ক্যামেরাটা ইয়ে
ওটা আমাদের কানেক্টেডই নয় নাকি? এই ল্যাপটপের ক্যামেরা দেখছি ইয়ে করছিল। Okay, now is it okay? Now I think it is visible, right?
Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
Yes.
ঠিক আছে
হ্যাঁ,
ওটা ছিল তো।
এবার কত কোনখান থেকে দেখা যাচ্ছে বলো তো?
হ্যাঁ, আপনি যেটা বলবেন আমি ওই ঘুরে দিচ্ছি, ওটা অ্যাডজাস্ট করে দিচ্ছি। আপনার এই লাইন থেকে ওই
Thank you. So let me repeat once more. Now I think the board is visible completely. So what we are trying to do today is to derive the Laura series expansion, and it says that if fz, the function of the complex variable z, this function has an isolated singularity at some point z naught, then it has an expansion of this form, which is called the Laura series expansion. So what we shall do is we shall once again apply the Cauchy integral formula, and you know what the Cauchy integral formula is. The Cauchy integral formula is the following. To remember correctly, f of z naught is 1 by 2 pi I c over the closed contour is a contour integral, and you have fz dz divided by z minus z naught. So this is the Cauchy integral formula or integral theorem or whatever you may call it. But there is a problem here. We cannot apply this theorem directly, right? Because the function, suppose this is the closed contour C. This is your closed contour C, and what this basically does is it has this singular point z naught. The singular point z naught is contained in this region bounded by this closed contour C, and f of z itself, the function itself has a singularity, isolated singularity at z is equal to z naught. Okay, but if you notice carefully the Cauchy integral theorem here, this theorem is valid only when this function f of z is an analytic function. It does not have any singularity. But what we are saying here is that we want to apply the Cauchy integral theorem to derive the Laura series expansion, but f of z, the function itself, it is not analytic. It has a singularity at z is equal to z naught. Okay, but this theorem holds when f of z is an analytic function in some region. So there is a problem. Per se, you cannot apply the Cauchy integral theorem just like that, because f of z is not an analytic function. So what can we do? The trick is the following. Suppose you take another circular region like this, and what you now do is the following. Suppose you are going like this, and you make a cut at this point, and from here you come to this point. So the arrow is like this. So you are going like this, then come here, then you traverse this singularity in this way. Okay, and then you again go like this, and then you complete the contour. Okay, this radius, let me see what this is, R1, this is R1, this radius is R1, the radius of the smaller circle, the radius of the outer circle is R2. And what we want to do is we want to find the Laura series expansion of this function which has a singularity at z is equal to z0 in this annular region, in this shaded region. That is what we want to do. So we cut our contour in this way. Now you can see that in this contour, so we call this contour in the following way. We call this, if we denote this full contour by C prime, then what we can say is that the full contour is say C2 and this contour is say C1. The inner contour is C1 and the outer contour is C2. This is being traversed in the clockwise direction and this is in the anti-clockwise direction. Now you can see what we have done actually. Initially, when you had this contour and you have another closed contour like this and you want to find the expansion in this region, then this was a multiply connected region because this Z0 is a singular point. It is an isolated singularity. And you please remember the definition of the multiply connected region. You cannot have any closed curve in this region which you can shrink it to a point without passing through points that are not contained in the region. You cannot do that. So it is a multiply connected region. But now by cutting this contour in the following way, that you are coming in this direction, then coming in this direction, then going like this, then going like this, and then like this. Now you see you have converted this multiply connected region into a simply connected region, and not only that, you are basically by moving along this contour in this particular fashion, you are basically avoiding this singularity. And in this, so now your region is basically this. This is your region. And in this region, it is a simply connected region first of all. And in this region, the function is analytic. F of z is analytic. It has no problem. It does not encounter the singularity because it has the singular. In the total region, it is not analytic because it is not differentiable at this point. It has a singularity at z0. But in this region, in this shaded region, it is perfectly fine. And since it is analytic, therefore, you can expand it in a, you can basically apply the Cauchy integral theorem. There is no problem. So let us apply the Cauchy integral theorem here. So f of z, so let me take a point z here in this annular region, and now we can safely apply the Cauchy integral theorem, which is 1 by 2 pi I C prime. So C prime is this contour, this way of cutting the thing. So C prime, and then we have FW dW divided by W minus Z. And what is W? W are basically points on this contour C prime. So it can be on this outer contour, it can be a point on this line, it can be a point on this line, it can be a point anywhere on this outer thing, and it can also be a point on this thing, on the contour C1. So that is what W is, and Z is a point which is some point in this annular region, inside this shaded region. And there the function has no problem. It does not it has no singularity, because in this region it has no singularity. The singularity is only at Z0, and therefore you can apply the Cauchy integral theorem like this. But this contour, you can write it down as 1 by 2 pi I C2. C2 is the full contour. Now you see there is a very subtle limiting procedure. This region I have shown it in a zoomed version, but this is actually very close. You can take it very close. This cut, you can make the cut as small as you want, and therefore if you make it as small as you want, then in that limit this C prime is actually the full total contour C2. So now you can write this as C2 FW BW W minus Z, and you are moving along this cut, and there is another contribution to the contour integral in this direction. So this direction and this direction will cancel each other, so that contribution is gone. And then you have the contribution from this circle, but this is in the negative orientation or clockwise direction, so that is why we will have a minus sign, 1 by 2 pi I C1 if W dW by W minus Z. Okay, so this thing you can write it as this thing, as C2, a contribution from C2 and a contribution from C1, where C2 is this outer contour and C1 is the inner contour. So this is how you can write it. And W are points on this outer and inner contours. That is what you should remember. And Z is a point in the annular region. And you should also keep this diagram in your mind. So let me call this integral, the first contour integral, as I1, and let me call this integral as I2. Okay, let us take I1. I1 is 1 by 2 pi I is C2 if W dW by W minus Z. And once again, as in the case of the Taylor series expansion, if you remember in the previous lecture, the way we had carried out further manipulations was the following. We wrote this W minus Z as W minus Z naught and this as Z minus Z naught. So you can always write this down, right? W minus Z is basically this. And for the outer contour, you can see W is a point on the outer contour C2, right? So Z minus Z naught is always less than the modulus of Z minus Z naught. That is the distance between Z and Z naught. And the modulus of W minus Z naught, so Z mod of Z minus Z naught is less than mod of W minus Z naught. So in the same way, you can actually, so using this fact, what we can do is the following. You can write this as, you can take omega minus Z naught out, and then this becomes Z minus Z naught by W minus Z naught. Okay. So this is the thing that we also did when we derived the Taylor series expansion. Why have we taken out the factor omega W minus Z naught? Because of the simple reason that we want to expand this factor, and the expansion is only possible when mod of Z minus Z naught is less than mod of W minus Z naught. That is why we have taken out the W minus Z naught factor outside for the C2 integral. And now it is straightforward. We have actually carried out this expansion in the previous class, and if you do it, what we shall get is the following: 1 by 2 pi I C2 W minus Z naught, and then you expand this thing. This will be 1 plus Z minus Z naught W minus Z naught plus Z minus Z naught and then you will have z minus z naught by w minus z naught to the power of n minus 1 plus Rn z comma w, and you know what we mean by Rn z comma w. It is the same expression as we had for the Taylor series expansion. So you can expand it in that way. And now it is simple. By following the same logic as we did in the previous discussion, you can show that this remainder term Rn z comma w that vanishes, that approaches 0 in the limit n tending to infinity. Why? Because of the simple reason that the distance between z minus z naught is always smaller than the distance between w minus z naught. W minus z naught, this distance is basically the radius r2 of the outer circle. So using that fact, you can actually show that in the limit n tending to infinity, this term will go to 0. So that term is gone, and you have all these terms. And therefore, what you will have is the first term, it is 1 by 2 pi over C2 Fw z minus z naught, right? So this is some coefficient which I shall call as, I shall denote as A0. The second coefficient is, you can see that this z minus z naught that will go outside, and you will have Fw by w minus z naught whole square and a contour integral over this, and this coefficient I shall call as A1 z minus z naught plus A2 z minus z naught whole square, and so on. Okay, and what are these coefficients? Therefore, you can write these coefficients as, in general, it will be An is equal to 1 by 2 pi I C2 F W dw by W minus Z naught to the power of n plus 1, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2. Okay? Is this clear? Let us stop at this point. Is this clear? At least for this integral I1. Now you may ask one question here, if you have noticed it carefully. What we have done is, we are in these terms, this term goes to 0 in the limit n tending to infinity. We have z minus z naught. These are independent of the integral. So the integral is over w. So you can take those terms out. So you have integrals of this form, right? For n is equal to 0, it is the first term. For n is equal to 1, it is the second term with w minus z naught whole square in the denominator, and so on. But we have denoted all these contour integrals as an, right? But if you notice carefully, you may say that, oh, this Fw, this looks very similar to the Cauchy integral formula, and you can naively say that no, I can write this as f n of z naught, right? You may ask, because this is the same, the right hand side is the same as the Cauchy integral formula, and you can say that, oh, I can write this as the derivative, the nth order derivatives of the function f at z naught. But this is true only when Fw, the function f of the complex variable, is analytic in the full region. Then only you can write this thing as the derivatives. But now, this f, the function, is not an analytic function in the full region, in the region bounded by the closed contour C2. Since it is not analytic, that means it has a singular point, and therefore it is not analytic, and therefore it is not differentiable at the singular point z naught, and therefore these derivatives do not exist. You cannot. basically what I mean is that you cannot write this as the derivatives of the ordinary of the function, ordinary derivatives of the function at z naught, but rather these are any arbitrary any coefficients. So that is the reason that we do not write it as derivative, but we write it as ans. So these are some coefficients. These are not the derivatives of the function at z is equal to z naught, because this function is not analytic at z is equal to z naught. Only if the function is analytic at z is equal to z naught, then by the Cauchy integral theorem, you can write it as derivatives, nth order derivatives at z naught. So I1 is good. We have obtained the expression for I1, and this is the expression for I1. Let us now look at I2. And so in order to evaluate the coefficients an, you have to perform a contour integral like this. Okay? So you remember that these are the coefficients. Now let us look at I2. And what is I2? I2 is just, you have a minus sign, because you remember the full integral, the full thing f of z was equal to some term which I called I1, and I called I1, and another term which I called I2, but there is a minus sign in between I1 and I2. So now I take I2 is equal to this minus of this thing. So what I mean is that fz that I wrote down earlier was I1 plus I2, where I2 includes the minus sign. Okay? And therefore, what is I2? I2 is basically, this is C1, and also, okay, just let me remember one thing. Okay, this was if you go back, so f of z, we wrote it down as 1 by 2 pi. The first term was going like this, in this way. Then you go and this cuts these lines, the contributions cancel, and then you are going like this. So this was around C2, and we had around C1. So you see, I have denoted the contour in the clockwise direction with a plus sign, because you are going like this, then this, then this, then this. So plus C2 in the positive orientation, plus C1 in the negative orientation or clockwise direction. But from where do you get the minus sign? You get the minus sign because if you just reverse the orientation, then you will get the minus sign. So this was in the clockwise direction, now you make it in the anti-clockwise direction, that gives you the minus sign. And this we call as, this term we call as I1, and this term we call as I2 with the minus sign. And therefore I2 is basically this, with a minus sign, and it is in the clockwise direction now. Okay. So now you just keep making these changes. This will be C1, there is a minus sign in front, W minus Z naught minus Z minus Z naught. You can again write W minus Z in this way. This is C1, the minus sign. But now the interesting thing is that you see that in this case, Z minus Z naught, this distance is greater than W minus Z naught. So you have to do just the reverse thing. I can take this minus sign common. So this minus sign will be out, will be gone. Then you have Z minus Z naught here. Then you have W minus Z naught here. And this will be Z minus Z. So what I do here is I take Z minus Z naught common. I take this factor outside, and that gives me this thing along with this thing, and the minus sign in front, that is gone. Now once again, why we did this thing? Because this particular object is less than, modulus of this is less than the modulus of this. Now you just expand this factor once again. So this will be C1. This is Z minus Z naught. And you keep on making these changes. W minus Z naught by Z minus Z naught, Z minus Z naught, W minus Z naught. And once again you have some remainder term which I call Pn Z comma W, and you can write down what Pn Z comma W is. I'm not writing it down anymore because it will be very similar to the earlier case. And here also you can show that in the n tending to infinite limit, this approaches 0. By similar arguments, you can show that that term is not there. And therefore, what we have now is the following. Here, you see, we have some term. So this I call some coefficient B1. So let me just check once again. Oh, please notice in this expansion, this term is not there. This Z minus Z naught, I can pull it outside. So if I pull it outside, the first term will be something like this: 1 minus Z minus Z naught. So, and then it will be 1 by 2 pi I integral this FW dW, and that I call it as B1, plus the second term, this Z minus Z naught whole square will be outside, and you will have integral along with the 1 by 2 pi I FW W minus Z naught dW, and that is something else that I call Z minus Z naught whole square B2, and so on. So you have something like this, and then we shall have plus Bn, and so on. What are these coefficients Bn? Let me now remove this diagram. The coefficients Bn are basically 1 by 2 pi I integral C1 if W just let me check one thing, if W, and then it is W minus Z naught n minus 1 dW, where n runs from 0, 1, 2. So for n is equal to 0, it is just FW dW, which is the first term. For n is equal to 1, it is FW omega W minus Z naught. This 0 will not be there. It runs from n is equal to 1 to and so on. For n is equal to 1, it is FW dW. For n is equal to 2, it is W minus Z naught FW dW. For n is equal to 3, it is FW W minus Z naught square dW, and so on. So these are your coefficients where n runs from 1 to and so on. Therefore, now we can combine the two things, and you can write f of z as, if you remember, the first thing that we had was a0 plus a1 z minus z naught plus a2 z minus z naught whole square plus dot dot dot. This is the contribution from I1, and this is the contribution from I2, and that will be b1 z minus z naught whole inverse plus b2 z minus z naught minus 2, and so on. And now you can combine the two things. You can combine all these things, and you can write it in a Laurent series expansion. In a Laurent series form, you can combine these two things in the following way. Let's say that this is Cn z minus z naught to the power of n. So this is the expansion, the Laurent series expansion that we were after, and we have now derived it completely. And you can, from here, you can also see the radius of convergence, and everything follows from this expansion. You just remember the diagram, and you will find out what is the radius of convergence and whatever. So this completes the derivation of the Laurent series expansion. But you should note one thing, that if this formula that we have, the Laurent series expansion, these are the Laurent series coefficients, A1, A1, A0, A1, and so on, and B1, B2, and so on. These are called the Laurent series coefficients. And these coefficients are given by these complicated contour integrals. These are, once again, as I mentioned in the previous discussion, these are quite nice theoretical formulas that we have developed, and it actually helps us in deriving very powerful theorems, as we shall see. These coefficients are very important in deriving powerful theorems. But from a practical point of view, if I give you some function which is not analytic, which has a singular point, isolated singular point, and I ask you to make a Laurent series expansion in some region where the function is fine, where the function is not singular, if I ask you to make a Laurent series expansion, then it will be, these formulas for calculating the Laurent series coefficients will not be very convenient. You can proceed it. You can proceed by try to proceed in this way by calculating these contour integrals, but it may turn out that this approach may not be very convenient because these are very complicated things. In order to calculate it, it turns out that it is quite inconvenient to calculate these contour integrals to obtain the Laurent series coefficients. So, from a practical point of view, evaluating the Laurent series coefficients from these contour integrals may not be a very good thing, or may not be a judicious thing to do. But from a theoretical point of view, these formulas are quite nice, because using these formulas you can prove some powerful theorems, as we shall see. Actually, you need to use this formula for the Laurent series coefficient Bn in order to prove the Cauchy residue theorem. I have already shown the Cauchy residue theorem earlier in an earlier discussion, but actually a rigorous derivation of the Cauchy residue theorem follows from this coefficient. So that is why these things are very important. So let me pause at this point. Are you okay with this derivation? Is it fine? Did you follow all the things that I have mentioned? We will definitely work out some examples, but before that I want to show you the derivation of Cauchy residue theorem. Is the derivation of the Laurent series expansion okay? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you may have some confusions, but I hope there are no confusions. But if you have any confusions, you can just send me an email, and you also go through the derivation at home, and I think it will be pretty clear. So there are some important points that you should keep in mind. In the derivation of this Laurent series expansion, what we have done is use the Cauchy integral theorem. This is the first step. So you just keep these points in mind, and then you follow. The rest is just simple algebra. The algebraic steps are not that difficult, but the key ideas in proving the theorem are quite nice. And you should keep these things in mind. The first thing is that in trying to prove the Laurent series expansion, we have used the Cauchy integral formula, right? And we know that the Cauchy integral formula holds only when the function f is an analytic function. Not the full integrand, but the function f divided by z minus z naught. So the function f that you have on top in the numerator, that should be an analytic function. Then you can apply the Cauchy integral theorem. But here also we want to apply the Cauchy integral theorem, but the problem is that the function f of the function of the complex variable is not an analytic function in the region we are concerned with. In the region where we want to make the Laurent series expansion, it is not an analytic function. So what to do? So what we have done, we want to apply the theorem, So in order to apply the theorem, what we have done is we have cut the region in a way so that the function is analytic in that region, in that particular region. We have converted the full region in a simply connected region by cutting it in a very clever way. And in that region, the function is perfectly analytic, and therefore you can apply the Cauchy integral theorem. This is the key idea in proving the Laurent series expansion. If you understand this key idea, then the rest of the steps in proving the theorem is just simple algebra. So now let us prove another important theorem, and this theorem is a very powerful theorem, and it is called the Cauchy residue theorem. I have given you a flavor of the Cauchy residue theorem in an earlier discussion, but today what we shall do is we shall prove it rigorously. Let us prove it rigorously. So before, in the previous discussion, what I have told you was the following. You remember the Cauchy integral theorem. This we have been using quite a lot, right? Fz by z minus z naught dz is equal to 2 pi I f of z naught. This I have showed you maybe 3 or 4 lectures back. This result I have proved. And in another lecture, I showed that if I call this full thing, this function as g of z, then obviously g of z is not an analytic function in the region bounded by the closed contour C, because it has a singular point at z is equal to z naught. F of z, mind you, is an analytic function, but g of z is not an analytic function. So I can write this as g of z dz, and I showed that this is nothing but equal to 2 pi I residue of the function g at z naught. You remember this? I have proved, I have showed that this f of z naught is basically nothing but the residue of the function. F of z naught, mind you, f is an analytic function, but this is equal to the residue of the function which is not analytic. It is residue of g at z naught. So from this theorem, you can actually understand this theorem. But now we shall prove this theorem in a rigorous way. Let us suppose that f of z, let us suppose that f of z is not an analytic function, that is, it has a singularity. Let us suppose that. And in some region like this, in some region bounded by this closed contour C, this function f of z is not analytic, rather it has singular points. Say it has 2 singular points. It has one singular point is say a1, another singular point is say a2. So in this region, the function f of z is not analytic. So as I mentioned in the previous class, the contour integral of fz dz is 2 pi I sum over residues of the function f at the singularities, at the singular points. So let me call these singular points as an. There may be as many, there may be n number of isolated singularities. Okay? So if there are n number of isolated singularities, then this function f, the contour integral of this function f is equal to 2 pi I sum over residues at all those isolated singularities. So you calculate the individual residue and just add it up. That will give you the result, the result of the contour integral f of z dz. And this is known as the Cauchy residue theorem. We want to prove this now. So this is the result, and we want to prove it. This is the Cauchy residue theorem. So let us do that. So once again, what we shall do is the following. We shall draw a circle around this point. We shall draw a circle around this point and then make a cut like this. So we are going in this direction, in the anti-clockwise direction, coming at this point, making a cut, coming to this point. Then we are going like in the clockwise direction. Then again we are going like this. So this is the cut. Now we are coming here. Again make a cut. Suppose there are two singularities only. So we are now coming like this, coming like this. Okay. So what we have done is we have converted this multiply connected region. Initially it was multiply connected. If you draw these circles, because you have drawn those circles in order to avoid the singularities, and you want to, and in the annular region you have a Laurent series expansion. But now you have converted that multiply connected region into a simply connected region, and in this region f of z is an analytic function. Okay, there is no problem. It is an analytic function, and therefore what you can write. So let me call this contour as C2 and let me call this contour as C1. So in this region, in the shaded region, so you go like this, go like this. So in this region, the function f of z is analytic, but in the full region it is not analytic because it has two singularities. Okay. But now you can write in the simply connected region, in this shaded region, this is f of z dz, contour integral, plus, please note the orientations. Now I am going in this way, in this direction, C2, f of z dz, plus, mind you once again that this contribution from these cuts will cancel because these go in the opposite direction. So the cut, these lines, the contribution from these lines cancel each other. And now you have C1, f of z, dz. And we have cut the region in such a way that f of z is analytic in that region. And therefore you can apply the Cauchy integral formula, the Cauchy integral theorem. The theorem says that if f of z is an analytic function, the closed contour integral in the region bounded by the closed contour C, where the function is analytic, it is 0. This gives us this. Okay? This is by the Cauchy integral theorem, which we have actually proved by using the Cauchy-Riemann equations. You remember? And the Cauchy-Riemann equations we have proved. You know the derivation. We are actually improving this result. We use the Green's theorem along with the Cauchy-Riemann conditions. Now, this thing is C f of z dz. That is equal to these two things. I take it on the other side. To take it on the other side, then you will get a minus sign, but I can absorb the minus sign by changing the orientation from clockwise to anti-clockwise. We can now write this down as C1 f of z dz plus C2 z dz. Okay? Is this clear? If this is clear, then you can at once see that these terms, so now we have to evaluate these two terms. And you remember the Laurent series coefficients. The Laurent series coefficients are the following. Dn is 1 by 2 pi I. We remember the coefficient Dn, the expression for Dn. And that is given by f of z or maybe you can write it down as if W is a point on the contour, W minus Z naught power of n minus 1 dW, where W is a point on the contour and n runs from 1 to 2. So this was Bn. So what is B1? So B1 is, so I can take this 2 pi I on this side. So 2 pi I B1 is basically the contour integral over C f W dW. So this is what this thing is. Okay. So this is your Laura series coefficient B1. Therefore, I can replace. So 2 pi I B1 is basically this thing, and therefore you can just replace these things by. So I can write the first term as 2 pi I B1, the Laura series coefficient B1 at the singular point A1. This is my first singular point A1. And the second term I can write it down as 2 pi I B1 at A2, because there are two singular points. This I can write it down as 2 pi I B1 at A1 plus B2 at A2. Okay. But what is B1 and B2? Or this is also B1, sorry. B1 at A2, at the other singular point A2. But what is B1? What is this coefficient B1? If you remember, B1 is the coefficient of 1 by Z minus Z naught. This is B1. The Laura series coefficient is the coefficient of the term 1 by Z minus Z naught, right? And therefore, by definition, B1 is the residue of the function f at Z is equal to Z naught. This coefficient is by definition the residue. Therefore, this is 2 pi I summation residue function f at the singular points, say AI, where I runs from 1 to 2. There are two singular points, so residue of f at A1 and residue of f at A2. If there are n singular points, it will be just summation over residues at the singular points. And this completes the derivation of the Cauchy residue theorem. So what we have done today is we have proved the Cauchy residue theorem. We have proved the Laura series expansion, and from using the coefficients of the Laura series expansion in the contour integral form, we have proved the Cauchy residue theorem. So I hope this is clear. So do you have any questions? Is it clear to you? So let us stop at this point. I think this is a nice point to stop today. So do you have any questions at this point? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you just go through these things, and we will meet on Friday. So we will meet on Friday. Today is Friday. We will meet on Wednesday because Monday is a holiday. We'll meet on Wednesday. The next class is on Wednesday at the same time.